What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and welcome to the Draftkings Picks and Prediction Show. We are here for UFC Las Vegas. We have a 14-fight card. Looking forward to breaking it down. We got Weezy, Monk, and Gordo. We'll start with you, Weezy. You looking forward to some UFC Las Vegas?
Yeah, I am. This is a fun card from top to bottom. A lot of interesting stylistic matchups. Found a lot of good spots here on DraftKings. I like my lineup that I got. So I'm looking forward to breaking it down with you guys.
Sounds good. We got Monk. Monk, what is up? You looking forward to the card?
Absolutely. We've got a little bit of a tweener card here, not quite on the level of a traveling card, but not an Apex fight either. So I'm loving the UFC Las Vegas look here. Get out of the Apex for several weeks in a row, and a nice in-between fight, in between pay-per-views.
And we got Gordo. Last but not least, what is up? You looking forward to the card this weekend?
I very much, and it sure may be a step down in name value from last weekend, which was a very filled card, but this one is fun nonetheless. A lot of DraftKings options that are going to be viable, and I'm super pumped to hear how you guys are targeting it this weekend.
Absolutely. Should be a fun time. Before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. Also, be sure to become a member here at Pub Sports Radio and check out that prediction contest we do each Saturday, pubsportsradio.com. Go to contest and enter your predictions in like a Tapology form, and then first place gets $100. Thanks, shout out to Boston Nick. I think he took it down last weekend, so let's see who gets it this weekend here. But I say we get into it. And we're going to start, as always, with the fight to target. And we're going to kick it off to Uncle Weezy. Weezy, what is your fight to target for UFC Las Vegas?
Yeah, I think a great one to target this week is going to be Victor Hendry versus Tony Gravely, as Victor is scoring and allowing right around 3.5 DraftKings points per minute. And that's in a 2-fight sample size, with one of the fights being against Assunção. So this guy is a very high-paced fighter, and he's fighting a guy that has a DraftKings work rate of 5.06 DraftKings points per minute, and that's in a 75-fight sample size. So Tony Gravely also in very high-paced, high grappling-paced fights. So you're going to avoid Tony Gravely's fights on DraftKings at your own peril, and certainly Victor Henry's the guy that brings a pace. So whoever wins this fight, it's a mid-priced fight. You're getting one guy for $7,800, the other guy for $8,400. And I don't really see there being a very high chance at all of this one being low-paced or slow. So I don't even think you need a finish in a fight like this in order to pile up a bunch of points from whoever wins it. So I think it's a great one to target both sides of.
Sounds good. I like it. Monk, what fight are you going to be targeting this week?
One of us probably talked about this 2 weeks ago, but it's Krylov Spann, part 2, as they say. 5.5 minutes is their average fight time since 2021, almost 9 points a minute. I mean, 5 of 8 times either them or their opponents have scored over 100, 3 times over 109.5, 6 finishes out of 8, 6 first-round finishes out of 8 fights, 6 times optimal. I mean, how many? That's the 666, baby, the number of the beast. If Iron Maiden taught us anything, it's that we should fear and respect that number. So give me Nikita Krylov and Ryan Spann as a fight to target.
Sounds good. Yeah, cannot wait for that fight. Hopefully, Krylov's able to make it this time. For me, I'm going to go with Anton Turkalj going against Vitor Petrino. It's minus 230. Fight doesn't go to decision, and I see it playing out one of 2 ways. The first way I see it playing out is Petrino landing a big shot and getting a knockout at 8,200. I think he has a ton of power. He doesn't have a ton to his game, but he has that power. You know, Anton Turkalj is pretty hittable, so I could see him getting a knockout. I more so lean towards the Turkalj side, especially at a little price savings at 8,000. And if he wins, I expect a lot of takedowns. I can see a late finish. He's able to get in dominant positions. He has a sneaky submission game as well, and I don't like the cardio of Petrino. So I think somebody scores well here, whether it's an early Petrino knockout or a late Turkalj submission TKO. But yeah, this is a fight I'm going to be heavily targeting at this $8,200 price tag. Gordo, what is your favorite fight to target for this week?
Yeah, 3 great options so far, and I think that you can make a case for a lot of others as well, but I'm going to take the main event here, and I don't want to talk too much about Merab Dvalishvili because I don't want to steal Monk's spotlight. I know he wants to talk about him really badly, so I'm just going to say this is a fight where both these guys are going to have potential to score well. I do think Dvalishvili is going to be very, very high-owned, and for good reason. He's going to have a lot of takedown upside, rinse and repeat. Other side of things, you've got Petr Yan, who's coming off of a controversial loss, and I think he's going to be hungry to go out there and like to put some damage against Dvalishvili. Over 25 minutes, I think both these guys can accrue a lot of points, and it is a fight I'm looking to target.
Sounds good. All right. 4 good fights to target there. Let's go to our fight to fade. I'm going to take the pretty easy one here. It's going to be JJ Aldrich, Ariana Lipski. I mean, in no world would I ever pay 9,400 for JJ Aldrich. I think she wins this fight, and I'm very confident she wins this fight, but 9,400 for somebody that, has 0 finishes in the UFC, somebody that I think can go for takedowns here, but I see this fight probably going to decision. Can't get there for Aldridge. And then as far as Ariana Lipski, I think she's probably the worst fighter on the card, so I don't want to touch her either. Just pretty easy fade for me. Gordo, what fight are you fading this week?
Yeah, that's the option as well. But let's go with Davey Grant versus Raphael Assunção. It's another fight I'm fading here. Davey Grant, we like to look at him. We like to say his performance of the night bonuses. But although how entertaining his fights are, they don't score that well. And to make matters even worse, he's fighting someone, Raphael Assunção, who is going to slow down the fight. In his last 10 fights, Raphael Assunção has never scored over 75 points, win or lose. That guy is not the best DraftKings scorer. On the flip side of things, Davey Grant's only scored over 100 points once, and that was with the 3rd round finish. I don't think this fight's going to be too optimal. And with a card full of killers and people who we expect to finish the fight, this isn't one that's really grabbing my eye so much.
That's a really good option there. Assunção fights, they just score terribly and are typically very boring. Weezy, what fight are you fading for this week?
Yeah, the first 3 letters in Assunção are ass. Okay, and that is how he performs on DraftKings rosters. The guy's always in low output fights. You know what the most amount of significant strikes in the entire career of Raphael Assunção, you know what the most he's ever absorbed in any fight is for 3 or 5 rounds is? I'll give all 3 of you guys one guess.
46.
69.
54.
All right. Monk was closest with 64. That's the most times this dude's ever been hit in a fight. He's a defensive master, and because of that, he fights in a style that makes that defense his best weapon. And it's just, you really want to avoid this guy, and whether it's somebody that's fighting Assunção or Assunção himself. Outside of cash lineups, if you got a lean on who you think's going to win the fight, just avoid this at all costs.
Yep, couldn't have said it better myself. And then Monk, what fight are you fading for this week?
I'm going to go with the heavyweight, one of the heavyweight fights. Karl Williams, Łukasz Brzeski, or Łukasz Brzeski if you're Łukasz if you're on whatever that site is. I can't think of. Karl Williams, Łukasz Brzeski, if you watched that Boudet fight, I apologize. I was right there with you. One of the worst fights I've ever seen. One of the worst heavyweights fight. One of the worst outputs for heavyweights we've seen since literally probably Lewis and Ngannou. It was god awful. I believe the winner scored 56 points in that fight. And Łukasz looked terrible. Karl Williams is probably going to come in here, land a takedown, lay on top of Łukasz for 3 minutes, and then the bell's going to ring. And then he's going to do the same thing in round 2. And he's going to do the same thing in round 3. I'm seeing 3-round decision, very little action. Łukasz on his back, getting controlled. It really just depends on if Williams can land ground and pound or not. I'm just going to go with a fade in general. I'm fading this whole fight. Turns out I'm fading several $9,000 guys this week. I like Karl Williams to win the fight, but I'm not interested in Brzeski at all from a DraftKings point of view. Karl Williams, I want to maybe test the waters a little bit, but I'm looking to fade this heavyweight fight in general.
All right, fading the heavyweight fight for Monk. All right, moving on to fighter to fade. I'll kick this one off. I'm going to go with Said Nurmagomedov, 9,100. First of all, after digging into the fight, the line and these salaries kind of baffle me, to be honest. I mean, I think this is a very, very close fight, a fight that can really go either way. I don't know if people are expecting Nurmagomedov to go out there and grapple Martinez. That's just not something he's done. I think he's landed 2 takedowns in the UFC. And in those takedowns, he's not controlling his opponent at all. So I struggle to see him taking down Martinez. I think Nurmagomedov maybe wins, but if he does, I don't see any grappling upside. I don't really see him finishing Martinez. And I'm not even convinced he wins this fight. So at 9,100, I'm going to stay away from Said Nurmagomedov this week. I think there's much better options up in this 9K range. Gordo, what fighter are you fading for this week?
Yeah, for me, it's pretty simple. It's going to be JJ Aldridge. And as much as I think she has a very winnable matchup in front of her at 9.4K, it's so hard for me to go up there and grab her because, I mean, this girl does not score very well. She's not a fighter who has not only finishability, but abilities to score well in DraftKings in the process. And at 9.4K, if you're trying to get her above Petr Yan, above Ricardo Ramos and Mario Bautista, she's not someone I want to roster very much in GPP format. Sure, she may have some cash value there, but still never scoring above 85 points. Not something I want too much from a $9,400 fighter.
Same here. Monk, how about you? What fighter are you fading?
Well, as I just said in the last one, I'm looking to fade several 9K guys, and we've just listed 9,100 and 9,400. Let me go against my own salary voodoo and give you Ricardo Ramos as a fade at 9,500 over Austin Lingo. Lingo has yet to be finished in his entire career, only one loss. He's 2-1 in the UFC. Also, this is mainly a fade on Ramos. I think he's going to easily win this fight. I think this is a setup. This is a great spot for him. I simply don't think he's going to score enough points. He's 920 over his average salary with an average value of less than 12x when he wins. 3.5 points a minute is a top 10 number, but only 102 per win in his last 3 wins. And over his UFC career, that number drops all the way down to 83.6. Guys, his ceiling is one of the lowest on the card at 105, and that's just tracking his standard deviation over just the last 5 fights. It's 101 in his career. When he wins by KO, 101. When he wins by sub, 106. Decision is a great number at 98. That's fantastic. But at 9,500, that's not really going to do much for us for GPPs. I think outside of several takedowns and maximum control time and tons of ground and pound and probably a first or second round finish, I just really don't see how he's going to make the optimal lineup. So I'm going to fade Ricardo Ramos here, even though I expect him to win and probably put up triple digits.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm very confident he wins, but that price tag is high. And we'll talk about somebody else later whose price tag is even higher that very confident he wins. But my goodness, some of these price tags this week, and that's one of them. Weezy, what fighter are you fading for this week?
Yeah, I'm going to fade Łukasz Brzeski this week, and that's because Karl Williams just drowns dudes in wrestling. I've seen at least 3 fights where this guy, Karl Williams, fought for 3 rounds, and his opponents landed less than 10 significant strikes. In particular, on Dana White's Contender Series, when he fought a Penn State wrestler, a standout wrestler, somebody that's in the best wrestling room really in the entire country, in any college gym. He threw him around like a rag doll for 3 rounds, and Lawson landed 1 significant strike in 15 minutes. And it's not just that fight. Go watch the Miles Black Santa Amos fight. He threw him around for 3 rounds, and Black Santa landed, I think, 11 total strikes, with several of them not being significant. And then in the Wright fight, I mean, he had a body lock on Wright for 14 out of the 15 minutes. That poor guy, he did not land anything. So when you're fighting Karl Williams, and Karl Williams has his way with his wrestling, you're reduced to literally no output, just playing defense and just trying to stand up for the entire fight. And that translates to horrible DraftKings scores. So I'm going to be fading the shit out of Łukasz Brzeski this week. Are you muted?
No, I was not. No, I was not. I was not muted at all.
That was close. That was close.
It was close, but I caught myself just in time.
I respect it. I respect it.
There we go. All right. Yep. I was just going to say, I forget what I was going to say, something about fading. I don't know. I forget. But anyway, we'll move on to our favorite dog. A lot of dogs sticking out this week. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. We'll start with you. Monk, what is your favorite dog for this week?
I was going to say, just pass it to me because this is happening no matter what you guys say. It's Merab Dvalishvili, 100% at 7K. This shit is ridiculous, guys. He's one of the best DraftKings scores on the card. I know I probably said this exact same thing last time, and then he fought Aldo and scored 77 points. And I believe what was a 3-round fight. Well, we've got a 5-round fight here. 5.5 points a minute, 114 per win. Mainly, I like him because he's made optimal twice out of 3 fights, $1,800 under his average salary, guys. His ceiling's one of the highest on the card. I feel good about, I love rostering Petr Yan as well, but the issue here is for Merab to make what I call the optimal value. His ideal score for optimal value is like 13.3x or something. He only needs to score 93 points. Yan has to score 122. So there's a 30-point difference here. When Dvalishvili loses, He's only lost twice in the UFC. He's averaging 86 points per loss. Per loss, 86 points. I think his floor is the highest on the card. I think his value is through the roof. And if he can find a win here, I mean, he's easily paying off that salary. I think even in a loss, he's easily paying off that salary. I'm sure a few of us will be talking about him again when it comes to making our lineups. But I think this is tremendous value on one of the best scorers on the entire card here. Win or lose, one of the best values. And as I said before the show, Petr Yan's a little bit tilted here. We're going to see if this dude loses this fight. I don't know what's going to happen. We might see a scene out of an action movie. Dudes all of a sudden drop from the rafters, screaming Russian with I mean, anything could happen, dude. This could be a Call of Duty game in real life. So I'm picking Merab for the win, for the upset. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, and he's by far my favorite dog.
Sounds good to me. Weezy, who's your favorite dog on the slate?
How awesome would it be to see like the judges that are cage side get kidnapped by a bunch of like Russian mercenaries after
like,
another Petr Yan split decision loss, and then we see like Derek
Ethan
Cleary
Hunt's in the crowd,
and Sal Diamato, and like they're all huddled in a corner, and they're not treating us well.
I just have to use the bathroom.
Be the one time in my life I wasn't rooting for the hostages.
Yeah. Oh, you got Sal Diamato? Keep him.
Yeah, I know. So you can have them. We don't negotiate with terrorists. So if you kidnap those guys, you're going to get zero ransom money for them, at least from me. But yeah, I mean, my favorite dog is Dvalishvili as well. But I'll give you guys Tony Gravely for the hell of it, even though he's not going in my lineup. At these prices and at what he's doing per minute. And plus, we know that the guy really does like to rely on his wrestling in order to win minutes in fights, but he's also got power on the feet too. So, I think, and plus you're in a Victor Henry fight, so the chances are wherever it goes, it's going to be high volume. There's going to be a lot of scrambles. There's going to be a lot of takedown attempts, and people are going to be throwing a lot of strikes. So, I think that Gravely, Merab Dvalishvili are two great spots to save a little bit of money on your salary this weekend.
Yeah, I had Gravely as well. And I also like Merab, but I'll give a different one. I'll go Ryan Spann, 7,500. I think is a very good dog. Like if he wins, what happened?
I just said poor.
Those are the three I have.
Over there just being
Gordo's
like,
muted, and I could hear him throwing shit.
Oh, I thought I was muted again. I got a little worried.
No.
Oh, good. Okay, can't be doing that. But yeah, those three.
Wait,
Ryan
you were
Spann,
muted again? So you admit to being muted the first time. That's an interesting turn of events. Continue.
No, not at all. But anyway, Ryan Spann, if he wins, it's in the first round. I mean, this guy, he's dangerous on the feet. He's dangerous on the mat. Krylov had to pull out a couple weeks ago due to an illness. Curious to see how he looks coming up this Saturday. But yeah, not extremely confident, but at 7,500, if he wins, I think he's going to put up a massive score here. And like I said, he's dangerous anywhere the fight goes for at least the first 5 minutes. So give me that upside for Ryan Spann here as a dog. Gordo, I know we took your three, but was there anything else sticking out?
That's okay. I'll go with the fourth one here because there are a lot of dogs barking this week. Before I do that, though, I couldn't have said any better than Monk. Let me just say, Merab's one of the greatest scorers of all time on DraftKings. Like this guy scores points like nobody else. He's going to be super chalky for good reason. Great job. Very well spoken. I like him as well. I like Gravely and Spann as well, but let's go Anton Turkalj, the pleasure man. He is technically an underdog, so I will take him. He's just a guy with not only a great nickname, but a guy who has a decent stylistic matchup for DraftKings purposes. He's a guy who has the ability to go out there. He may not be the best technical wrestler, but his style is to break people down the stretch, take them down over and over again. And it's a guy who's just a ball of muscle and athleticism like Petrino is. Turkalj's path to victory is going to include a few takedowns, some control time, and we all know Turkalj has a decent finish game from top position as well. So when you have someone like Turkalj who is dangerous from all positions, who is technically an underdog still, even though this fight is a very, very close one in my opinion, I do think his win condition scores very well at an underdog price tag.
Yep, absolutely. I think we brought up 4 very, very good dogs. Like all 4 of those for sure. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to talk some prize picks. We had another sweep last week. I remember I had the Cody Garbrandt under either points or significant strikes. Monk, remember what you had last week?
I had Shevchenko, RIP, over 2.5 takedowns. She landed 4. Weezy had Simon over 43.5 strikes. He landed 117, so
Noise.
good cover there. You had Barrio over 42.5, 109 there, easy cover. And then our guy Gordo over 2.5 takedowns for Tabitha Ricci. She landed 4.
Nice. There we go. So I think that's 2 sweeps in a row.
It is.
Let's see what we got for this week. I will kick us off. Give me Karl Williams over 2 takedowns. I think he gets over 2 takedowns. I think he gets probably 1 in each round. So I think he gets 3. I think he gets 1 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 in the third. If by chance Brzeski is able to get back up, I think he's going right back down. I think it's a pretty easy over 2 here for me on Karl Williams. Monk, what are you going with for prize picks this week?
I'm going to go with Mario Batista over 25.5 significant strikes. I think he does get it done inside the distance, but I think Guido can take about hopefully 26 strikes before he gets it done. So I think that number is just a bit low. Hopefully we'll get to see Batista work a little bit, and that could happen in the first round. So give me Batista over 25.5 strikes.
All right. Gordo, how about you? What are you liking for prize picks this week?
Oh, almost talked while muted. I can't have that happen on the year. I also do very much like the Karl Williams over 2 takedowns, but instead we're going to give you an under, which I don't do very often. We'll take Cedric Dumas under 2 takedowns. I don't think he is going to be the guy initiating the takedowns in this spot. I think if he's going to have any grappling success, it's going to be because of the lapse of judgment of Josh Frem. I think Dumas is completely content to keep it on the feet and will not hit over 2 takedowns, in my opinion.
All right. And Weezy, anything stick out to you this week on prize picks?
Yeah, for sure. I've already got a play in. Last week, my play was the Barrio over and the Simon over, which cashed easily. So my play this week is the Karl Williams over 2 takedowns combined with Davey Grant less than 62.5 significant strikes. Let me give you guys the numbers. Here's how many significant strikes Assunção has absorbed in all of his UFC fights. 55, 18, 19, 62, 10, 20, 34, 44, 52, 64, 39, 33, 29, and 14. This guy has absorbed more than 62.5 significant strikes once in his UFC career, and it was 64. Do you know who that fighter was? TJ Dillashaw. So I don't know how they came to 62.5 significant strikes here. And plus, I really do think that Assunção's path to victory is to mix in the takedowns so that he can take Davey Grant a little bit away from where he's most dangerous, which is on the feet, throwing powerful strikes. And dangerous Davey Grant's been submitted 3 times in the UFC, 4 times in his career. So I could see Assunção going to the wrestling here and making this look really easy in terms of holding Davey Grant to saying under 40 strikes, not even under 30 potentially.
Sounds good. All right, 4 spots there for prize picks. We'll see how we do. If you guys have not already, sign up on prize picks using promo code PUBSports. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun each and every week. All right, let's go to our favorite GPP play, and we'll start with you, Monk. What are you liking for a GPP play this week?
Well, man, I mean, I already talked about Merab. I'll give you Carlston Harris here. Get a little different. $8,300 short notice replacement. Jared Gooden. Jared Gooden coming back to the UFC after starting 1-3. A bit of a rocky start here. Last fought 2 weeks ago, I believe, at 185. So now we're cutting down to 170. This is at welterweight. I'm almost positive. And I just like the Harris upside here with those, replacement fighters win 37% of the time. That's it. Harris, opponents of replacement fighters win like 61%. Scores 102 per minute over 3 points or 102 per win over 3 a minute. Average value of almost 13 per win so far. He had the unfortunate, he had to fight Shavkat. Sorry about that, but that's going to be a big L. Impa Kasanganay got a win over him, and then Christian Aguilera scored decently, finished all in the first round in each and every fight. I absolutely love the upside here coming in on short notice for Gooden. So give me Harris at 8,300. I think you can even build your lineup around, Harris could be the last guy in your lineup. Take your top end guys, take your bottom end Merabs and whatnot. And then Harris could easily be the last guy slotted in at 8,300. Same as the 8,200, 8,000 kind of lineup. It's very easy to get to either one of these guys. I just tend to like the upside of Harris a bit more.
Sounds good. Yep. I think I have a feeling we'll all four have Harris in our lineups at 8,300. Might be a mistake to leave him out as a big favorite there. For me, I'm going to go with one Karl Williams sitting at 9,000. Yeah, I like Williams a lot in this matchup. I feel like he has takedown upside, control time upside. I hate the cardio of Brzeski. I think Williams is going to go in there and not mess around, get the fight down to the mat early and often. If Brzeski gets back up, he's going right back down. Really like the wrestling of Williams. Really impressed with what he did on the Contender Series and even outside the Contender Series. So I think he has a decent ceiling here at 9,000 with the takedown, control time, and maybe even a late finish if Brzeski is completely death gassed, which he seems to get tired at like the end of the first round in fights. So give me some Karl Williams at 9K. Weezy, how about you? Who is your favorite GPP play this week?
I'm going to go with Romanov this week. I think he wins this fight by implementing the best type of game plan on DraftKings, which is takedown heavy on the feet with the nose to finish with submissions and ground and pound on the ground. Volkov has struggled against wrestlers traditionally, and Romanov is one of the best wrestlers in the division at this moment right now. So Romanov scores 4.83 DraftKings points per minute. So even in a decision win at that pace, he scores over 100 points. But Alex has finished all but one of his pro wins inside the distance. The one that he didn't was against Juan Espino, and that was against, obviously, one of the other top 5 wrestlers in the division, which, Volkov is not. And he was taking down Espino. So I just feel like, it's going to be easy for Romanov to do what he does best, and that's wrestle. And if he's doing that, he's not only going to win the fight, he could get a finish here. We saw Aspinall get a straight arm bar on the ground against Volkov. That's something you don't see at this level very much. So I think that Romanov is going to be very dangerous, and the price is right. He's not even $9,000.
Yep, I like him a lot as well, Weezy. Gordo, how about you? Who is your favorite GPP play?
It is going to be one Nikita Krylov at 8.7. He was the talk of town last time. His card was out here, and this is a much better DraftKings card. So I think we're going to get him at a bit lower ownership. Still, a fight that's going to be very high owned for a very good reason. It's supposed to end in the first 5 minutes. The under 1.5 is juiced. Both these guys are killer to be killed fighter. They're going to go out there guns a-blazing. And of course, there is that risk of Ryan Spann locking up a guillotine, being that opportunistic finisher that he is. But I think the better minute winner is Krylov. The guy with more takedown potential and DraftKings scoring upside is going to be Krylov. And I think it's going to be his fight. He's going to win until he's not, right? So that's my GPP play. I do like Krylov.
Sounds good. Hopefully he makes it to the cage. Last time he completely screwed me. Had the optimal lineup if he would have won. If he would have won that fight, would have had the optimal lineup. So that one hurt. So Krylov, hopefully make it to the cage and don't get sick again. All right. Because I'm going to have a ton of that fight once again, maybe even 100% of it. All right. We'll move on to our favorite cash play, and I'll kick this one off. A guy that's been talked about very highly already, and that is going to be Merab Dvalishvili, 7,000. I'm actually picking him to lose and actually think he gets finished, but before he gets finished brutally in the 4th or 5th round, I do think he's going to put up a pretty high score here in a loss. I think he's going to go for takedowns. I think he's going to get takedowns as well. Yan has a 90% takedown defense, but I absolutely see Merab getting takedowns. I don't see him holding down Yan, though, which is only going to lead to more takedowns. Merab's not going to 1-2 strike with Petr Yan on the feet. It's not even close, so he's going to go for takedowns and go for a ton of them. Like, I could see him getting like 10 takedowns early in this fight, and then maybe slowing down late, getting beat up late and finished late. If he does win this fight in a 5-round fight, he's going to put up just a massive, massive score. But yeah, I like this fight for cash quite a bit. Going to be stacking it for cash. Stacked the 5-round co-main last week, worked out well. I think this is going to work out even better. So stacking this fight and let me some Merab at 7K. Monk, who is your favorite cash play for this week?
Much like you, I'm going with someone that we've already talked about pretty much at length, and that's Karl Williams. I'm fading Łukasz Brzeski as far as I can fade it. Much like if you've ever seen Back to the Future, when he's trying to look at the picture and his family is just fading from existence. That's how I'm treating Łukasz Brzeski this week. So give me Karl Williams. I think he should roll here, easily take down Brzeski, and just, rinse and repeat over 15 minutes. If he gets a sub, great. If not, ground and pound, great. If not, he should still win an easy 30-27. So Karl Williams, favorite cash play at 9K. He's like, what, the 5th or 6th cheapest to 9K guy at this price. So give me lock him in there for cash.
Love it. Weezy, how about you? Who are you liking for cash?
Yeah, my favorite cash play this week is Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. A young man that I've got 6 units on. It's one Karl, the Truth Williams. Look, this guy is great for DraftKings, and he implements a game plan that's very difficult to deal with at the heavyweight division. And I love the fact that this guy out wrestles wrestlers. So you don't really have to worry about, is he going to be able to out wrestle Łukasz Brzeski, because Brzeski doesn't have the kind of wrestling background that this guy does. And he doesn't have the kind of wrestling background that previous opponents that Karl Williams has absolutely ragdolled has had as well. So I think that this is going to be a really bad matchup for Łukasz. You know, in the right fight, I think I saw Karl Williams get 10 takedowns in the first round, and I'm not joking about that. You know, and it's because Lawson couldn't get back up that he only got 3 takedowns in that fight. But in these other fights, you're seeing him get mat returns over and over and over again. He works to that body lock, and then he throws people around. So, you know, I mean, I think he can get 3 or 4 takedowns in the very first round here. And, you know, Łukasz Brzeski does not have the best conditioning, even when he's in high volume striking matches for heavyweight. But if he has to wrestle for 15 minutes and he's wearing the weight of Karl Williams, I could see Williams getting a late finish as well. So I'm not just confident on the money line here. I'm confident that he puts up a massive DraftKings score.
Yep, agreed. And Gordo, who you like for cash?
Yeah, how funny is it that my cash play is a $7,000 underdog? I know we already talked about Merab. He is my underdog, but just because we already talked about him, let's talk about someone that probably won't be talked about enough, and this is my chance to talk about him. Merab Dvalishvili, 9.7. Of course, the salary is a big concern, and that's probably why he was my first option on when I wrote this down. But this guy should win this fight. He's minus 1,000 money line. As much as that line is potentially wide, as much as that salary is super high, he does have the skills to pay the bills. He does have the path to victory to win here. It's projected to finish in the first round as well. And even though it is hard to get to him at 9.7, I see him scoring above 100 points almost 90% of the time. So I do think he scores very well. It's just, can you get to him?
Yeah, definitely hard to get to him. I didn't get to him this week in my cash lineup, but yeah, he's the safest play on the slate, that's for sure. All right, we'll move on to our favorite value play. We'll start with you, Uncle Weezy. What are you liking for some value this week?
It's got to be Carlston Harris this week, doesn't it? At 8,300 with the short notice opponent. You know, Carlson's got fantastic conditioning. That's one of the things that he's always brought to the table. And he can push a wrestling heavy and clinch heavy game plan for the full 15 minutes. And his body lock takedowns are no joke. And he can dominate those positions for long periods of time. That's a nightmare opponent to accept a fight on 3 days' notice against. Jared's going to be weighing in less than 48 hours from now. And he just took this fight this morning. So getting Carlston Harris at 8,300 this week feels like a ton of line value. Carlson's got a DraftKings friendly style to begin with, and he's a fantastic finisher, and he brings a lot of volume and takedown attempts. So I think it's a very risky thing to leave this guy out of your lineup with the line value savings, with the finishing upside, and with the opponent that's taking the fight on less than 48 hours, or weighing in on less than 48 hours notice here.
Yeah, I mean, tough short notice fight for one Jared Gooden for sure. I really like Carlston Harris. Minus 260 on the money line. So like you said, Weezy, we're getting a ton of line value there. But yeah, Harris, he can wrestle, he can grapple, he can hit hard. He can finish fights. He can wrestle for 15 minutes if he needs to. I think is a great play at 8,300. Clear value on that line, right there with you. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking for some value?
I love that. It should also be noted that whenever there is a salary, an unnatural salary, as I call it, just because there's not a better word, when it's like, 83 and 79, is anything that adds up to 16,200 is a natural salary. So when one of those is thrown off, like we assume will happen here with Jared Gooden being less than 7,900, they make the optimal lineup at something like over 70 some percent, someone from that fight, usually the favorite. But I will have that exact stat up on my Twitter later on, but it's something crazy. It's 75. It was, last time I checked, it was like 13 out of 15 times it's happened, something crazy like that. So definitely keep an eye on that. I'll quickly give you Jonathan Martinez as some great value, potentially at 7,100. Scores 3 points a minute, 82 per win, but he is 1,600 less than his average salary. Any kind of win, he should go on the optimal lineup. He only needs to hit 94 to 13x his salary. I absolutely love the potential here against Said Nurmagomedov, who generally doesn't give up a ton of points, and I think will probably win this fight. But I just feel I think Martinez has a chance. I mean, lately he's looked pretty good, 4-1 in his past 5. Finish win over Cub Swanson, beat Morales. Dvalishvili only lost to Davey Grant in his last 5. I think he has a decent chance, and I think this line is a bit too wide. You're paying up for the Nurmagomedov name, so give me Martinez for some possible value here.
Yep, I like that one too. Gordo, what do you like for some value?
Yeah, I originally had Turkalj circled here, but because I didn't have any dogs to talk about, talked about already. So let me use this opportunity to talk about Alexander Romanov, 8.6. Sure, maybe not value considering he's getting a huge step up in competition against Volkov. But if we look at the numbers that Alexander Romanov is able to put out there, he has a great path to victory here, being able to take down a guy in Volkov who is pretty easily taken down. To me, Romanov gonna have a decent ability to score well, and it's not very often you see him below that $9,000 mark, so could look value in retrospect.
Sounds good. All right, yeah, that fight's definitely one to target. I think whoever wins that one is gonna score very well. All right, we'll move on then to our dart throw. Should be interesting here. I think there's a couple spots to stick out for a dart throw. Mine's kind of crazy. We'll start with you, Gordo. What is your dart throw for this week?
Yeah, I have written down here Joshua Fremd as my dart throw. I see a lot of love for Dumas. I get it, but when you are the more battle-tested guy facing a guy coming into the UFC, you are going to be a larger guy in Josh Fremd. I think he has a decent ability to go out there, grind something out, and I do think he comes at a very, very low ownership. Getting Dvalishvili in there, you have such opportunities to make some good lineup paying up top. So I think he is a decent dart throw because his path to victory is going to come at a low ownership and should involve grinding it out and scoring decent in the process.
Sounds good. Yeah, speaking of Dumas, our guy in the chat locker room did probably the most interesting interview I've ever seen with Dumas. I mean, the guy had to have put down like 10 blunts in the span of like 25 minutes. So that guy can smoke. So we'll see if his cardio can hold up across 3 rounds. Weezy, who is your dart though for this week?
So I'm going to go with Victor Hendry this week. Tony Gravely's got the better Draftkings stats, and he's got the grappling upside. So I think he's 7,800 to Hendry's 8,400, right? But I think Vic's a good dart throw this week because the vision that's fresh in everybody's mind right now is Victor Henry's pants-shitting performance versus Assunção. He lost to a 40-year-old man on a 4-fight losing streak. So, but the last time out before that, Victor scored 113.5 points versus Barcelos in a decision win. And we can add to that fact that Hendry's never been finished, so that you can feel safe getting 3 high-paced rounds out of him at the very least. Solid high upside dart throw at 8,400. And if he wins this fight and has a performance similar to what he put on in the Barcelos fight, where he only got 1 takedown but still scored 113 points, you're going to be dancing because he was only 8,400, and he will be optimal if he fights like that.
And I think the winner of that fight scores very, very well. For me, last week I joked about Jamie Pickett as a dart throw, and we all laughed. We all had fun laughing. But this week, my dart throw, yes, I'm going to say it, is going to be one Guido Canetti, 6,500, 43-year-old bantamweight, the oldest fighter on the roster. The reason being is I think he has one path to victory and one path to victory only, and that is a first-round knockout. He showed at 43 years old he still has that power, and it wasn't too long ago where Mario Batista got knocked out by that bum, Trevin Jones. So at 6,500, if he knocks this guy out in the first round, I mean, he's going to be on the optimal lineup. I'm not going crazy with it, nothing like that, but I don't know how much Batista I'm going to get. Like 9,700, that is a steep price to pay, especially when there's guys I like that are cheaper than Batista this week. So I will be sprinkling a little bit of Guido Canetti in hopes for a first round knockout win. Obviously, he's probably going to lose, but it's worth a little bit of a sprinkle there. I think Monk, right? Monk, who's your dart there for this week?
Yeah, and since you brought up last week, I mean, can we get some love for the standing rear naked choke?
Thank God, yes.
From one Shavkat Rakhmonov. What, do you have a reverse hook in? What the hell? I mean, come on. Ridiculous. Anyways, Adiani Lipski. It's only been 1 week since we've had a $6,800 women's flyweight fight completely break the slate, as people like to say. Let's make it 2 weeks in a row. Adiani Lipski. I'll tell you what, as much as I think Aldrich wins this fight, if I have to pick a side to play for DraftKings, it sure as shit ain't Aldrich, man. Lipsky scores 2.5 a minute, 96 when she does win, which is few and far between. Yes, I know she got KO'd by Antonina Shevchenko and Montana De La Rosa and Priscilla Cachoeira in like the first minute. But hey, anything can happen. I think there's still a little bit of value at this very low salary. If she gets anywhere, close to a win, I mean, Aldrich, when she loses, and she is 3-2 in her last 5, gives up 88 points in a loss. So crazier things have happened. Give me Lipsky for a little bit of a dart throw.
We're getting greasy. We're getting a little greasy. Canetti,
Super
Lipsky.
greasy. You said Canetti, so I figured anything goes at that point.
Anything goes. Anything goes for sure. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring up the results of last week. We'll talk about our lineups for this week. So last week in 4th place was Uncle Weezy, had Bo Nickel 100, Shevchenko 80, Simon 105, Turner 31, Brunson 30, and Jeff Neal 29, scoring 377.45. In 3rd place was Monk, Valentina 80, Rachmanov 98, Simon 105, or Araujo 26, Jalen Turner 31, and Damon Blackshear 42, scoring 383.72. In 2nd place was Gordo, Bo Nickel 100, Shevchenko 80, Marc-Andre Barrio 119, Araujo 26, Jalen Turner 31, and Esteban Ribovics 48. And then Gordo scored 407.18. And then in first was me with Bo Nickel 100, Shevchenko 80, Gamrot 85, John Jones 104, Ribovics 48, and then Alexa Grasso 90.66, scoring 510.48. So you have a really good week there for me. Stacked the co-main, that worked out. Ended up fading Gone 100% in all my lineups, playing a ton of John Jones, but that really didn't matter because Tabitha Ricci, I think, made optimal, and so did Amanda Hebos. So just weird outcomes there.
Women's fly. I'm telling you every week, you got to target women's flyweights, baby.
Yeah, like Rebos scored like 115. I don't know how she did it, but apparently she scored that much. So current standings across the year, we are 7 cards in. It feels like a lot more than 7, but only 7 cards in. In 4th place, we got Monk scoring 2,654. 3rd place is Weezy, 2,822. 2nd place is me with 3,034. In 1st place is Gordo with 3,085. I am 50 points behind Gordo. We got Weezy, who is 263 behind Gordo, and then Monk, who is 430 behind Gordo. Gordo, you are still in 1st place after 7 cards.
It is very, very close, though. I was worried you got me after you got that stack. Great call on that stack there, but it's going to keep on going, and this is a very, very dangerous card, so I'm excited to see what you guys play.
Yep, I'm feeling pretty good about this week, but we'll hear what you guys have to say about your lineups. Gordo, we'll start with you. What is your lineup for this week?
Yeah, I mean, lots of things change with Carlson Harris at 8.3, so I will have him in here. My lineup goes Carlson Harris, 8.3, Nikita Krylov, 8.7, Alexander Romanov, 8.6, Carl Williams, 9,000, Merab Dvalishvili, 7,000, and then you choose between the 50-50 fight, Turkalj, Petrino. I'm going to go Turkalj.
Sounds good. Weezy, how about you? What do you got for this week?
Wow, me and Gordo got almost the exact same lineup here. I've got Carl the Truth Williams, Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week on top. Then we're going with Nikita Krylov, Alexander Romanov, Victor Hendry, Carlston Harris, and Merab Dvalishvili. So, yeah, man, I mean, me and Gordo, we got one fighter separating us. He's got the pleasure, man. I'm going with Hendry here.
Nice. Yeah, we have 4 of the same between me and
This
Gordo.
is what we were talking about backstage.
Yeah.
We were going to have like of the same 4, and then a couple would be different probably.
Yeah, so I'm going Williams as well. I'm going Merab Dvalishvili as well. I'm going Harris as well. And then I'm going Romanov. And then I'm going Petr Yan. And then I'm going Tony Gravely. So, yeah, we're all pretty close. Monk, how about you? What do you got for this week?
That's my exact lineup. That is my exact lineup. Petr Yan, Carl Williams, Romanov, Harris, Gravely, and Dvalishvili.
Great minds think alike, everybody.
There you go. Well, I'm not changing personally.
I'm writing this out.
It's early in the year. He doesn't. Nobody has to change.
Yeah, like every time I change, I just do so bad. So
I wouldn't have won last week, but I would have scored way better. I might have even had Grasso on the Wednesday show. I can't remember.
Like changing screws me every time. So I'm trying not to change unless you have to change. But yep. So we're all pretty close. So we're either all going to do very good or very bad. It seems like.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Let's see what is next. By the way, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns in the chat, go ahead and type them in now. We'll get to them very, very shortly. But what we're going to do is do some quick picks, and we will start with our Uncle Weezy. Weezy, do you have your quick picks ready for this week?
Sure do. Going with Petr Yan, KO round 5. Alexander Romanov, KO round 2. Nikita Krylov, submission round 2. Ricardo Ramos by decision. Said Nurmagomedov by decision. Anton, the Pleasure Man, Turkalj by decision. Karl Williams is Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, knockout round 3. Davey Grant, knockout round 2. Josh Friend by decision. Batista, submission round 2. Aldrich by decision. Tony Gravely by decision. Bruno, the Bulldog, Silva by decision. And then Carlston Harris, we're going to say where he's going to get a second round Anaconda choke submission.
Love it.
Wow, Weezy, the pick, the round, the method, bonus points for Uncle Weezy. I'll do the same.
I got my Tapology, and nice. that's I read it off the Tapology because that's what I gave out last night on Just the Tip. Yeah. So I'm going that extra mile for everybody out there today.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'll do the same. I'm taking the same exact thing actually. Harris sub 2. Give me Bruno Silva decision. Give me Victor Henry decision. JJ Aldrich KO 3 TKO. Mario Batista sub 1, Dumas sub 1, Davey Grant KO 2, Carl Williams decision, Turkalj KO 2, Nurmagomedov give me Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan Martinez decision. I will take Ricardo Ramos sub 2. I'll take Ryan Spann sub 1, Romanov sub 1, Petr Yan KO 4. Monk, what are your quick picks for this week?
Let's see. We'll go Harris inside the distance. Silva, who we didn't talk about, I think will be a great DraftKings play by decision. Gravely decision, Aldrich decision, Batista ITD, Dumas ITD, Grant ITD, Williams decision, Petrino ITD, Jonathan Martinez upset decision, Ramos decision, Krylov ITD, Romanov ITD, and Dvalishvili upsetting the tilting Petr Yan. The fanboys will come out in droves. I cannot wait for them to be so upset at the Aljo and Merab team. I cannot wait for this.
Yeah, I mean, if this goes to decision, there's a really good chance Yan is going to get screwed again. So
is Merab really just going to put Yan up against the cage and wrestle fucking for? Yes, he is. Cry about it.
He is going to definitely do that. Gordo, what are your picks for this week?
All right, and don't forget the round and method because we do that apparently. I love it. All right, let's go Carlston Harris. Let's go round 2 KO. I'm not going the sub. Sub sounds fun though. Bruno Silva decision. Tony Gravely decision. JJ Aldrich decision. Mary Bautista sub 1. Josh Fremd upset alert. KO 3. Davey Grant decision. Carl Williams decision. Vitor Petrino. Guess what? Decision. Said Nurmagomedov. Guess what? Decision. I think you can see where this is going. Ricardo Ramos, decision. I'm sorry. Unfortunate. That's what I got written down. Nikita Krylov, round 1 KO. Alexander Romanov, round 1 KO. And Petr Yan, decision. A lot more decisions than I want to admit, but should be fun.
I have a lot of finishes on this card personally, but yep, should be a good one regardless. I don't think I missed anything in the chat. Do you want to shout out Mushroom though? Mushroom is going to be going. I don't know if you're going live or uploading at Mushroom, but you're going to be putting something out at 10 o'clock on Thursday. So be sure to check out Mushroom MMA, doing some content over there. I'll be checking it out myself. And yeah, I think we're all caught up. Did not forget anything, so that's good. All right, Weezy, let the people know where they can find you and what you have going on throughout the week. You going live for some Ask Weezy tonight?
Yes, sir. 10 o'clock Central Time. Ask Weezy. Ask me anything about this card. Ask me anything about the prop template, the stats, the bets. We're going to talk UFC Las Vegas, and we're going to find ways to stack cash tickets like flapjacks. I'll also be giving you a greasy 4-leg parlay probably on Friday on my channel. I've been waiting to do that now until the lines kind of settle and until everybody actually makes weight, because I got a bad habit of choosing a fight almost every week that winds up getting called off. So, yeah, look for a greasy 4-leg parlay on Friday. Look for Ask Weezy tonight. And then you can find me on the MMA Engine every Monday for Probability. And you can find me on Pub Sports Radio every week, like 3 times a week. I'm always here. So let's all stack cash tickets like flapjacks this weekend and bathe in the blood of our vanquished Draftkings enemies. Let's get it, everyone.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Monk, let the people know where they can find you, what content you have for this week.
Absolutely. Love doing this show with you guys. You can find me on the Monk Maddox channel. My game theory video is out. MMA Engine Salary Voodoo will be out tomorrow, most likely. I will probably record it this evening. I'm also thinking about doing a new show, kind of like, you know, how CSI has all the CSIs Miami and all Law and Order, SVU. I've got a game theory, main event dissection. So look for that this week if I can get to it. Other than that, in about 36 minutes, you can find me over on the Addicted to Combat channel, where me and Patrick are going to be going over this card from a different point of view. Absolutely looking forward to that. Haven't done a ton of guest spots this year. So, yeah, let's go, man. Looking forward to this one. And we've got a decent pay-per-view next week. Looks bad on paper. Casey O'Neill, Muhammad Makayev, some great DraftKings plays. Let's get ready for it with this card.
Yep, and don't forget, in a couple of weeks, we have the return of the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Liang Na. Liang
No
Na
way.
wants to cash those unders. They're already cashed. Just place the bet, cash the under. It is already good to go there. So I'll be probably max betting if it's at a 2.5. Can't wait for the return of Liang Na, one of my favorite fighters. I want to try to get her autograph or something. Maybe, I don't know, maybe get a shirt or something, because big fan of Liang Na.
Even some hair tips would be nice, right?
Yes. She has a beautiful head of hair. That is for sure.
Handsome.
Does not get much more handsome than Liang Na. Gordo, let the people know where they can find you, what content you have for this week.
Yeah, my full card picks and predictions is now live. I was live this morning on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter at GamblesGordo. And how much time? 5 minutes. I'll be live with the Chronic Combat Boys. So we'll be there talking some fights. Should be fun. Check them out. Check out everybody else above me. And it should be a great weekend. Everybody, best of luck.
Let's go. And you can check me out. I did Lag saying Vern is more handsome than Liang Na. That's debatable.
Blasphemy, if you ask me.
You think
more
Vern is
handsome?
more
You
handsome?
already knew I was with Lags on that one, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Fair enough.
I mean, it
You
is
get the live
close.
chat lurker out of here. I
Yeah.
think I know where that's going.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, it's close. It is a close race between Verna and Na, that's for sure.
Yeah. There's no clear winner there. You know, it's like everybody's getting a participation trophy in that one, but you know,
Very true. But yeah, regardless, you know, Liang Na's handsome in that, and that's not debatable. But yep. Follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers, YouTube, DFS by the numbers. Just got my breakdown out today, a little behind because of Vegas. But yeah, should be getting more content out throughout the week. So check me out there. Check me out on the MMA Engine, and then also here on Pub Sports Radio. Like, subscribe, and best of luck for UFC Las Vegas. See you guys later.